in the finals. MVP feature a player in QO that is probably the most dynamic and explosive player in Pro Dota 2 today. He averages 8.6 kills per 35 minutes career at Dota 2 LAN events. There is no other player over 7.7. And to start us off here on the panel, we've got a special video here for you featuring QO.
Hello. You and your team were the last one who came here in Kyiv. Did you manage to have some sleep, maybe to prepare to the matches?
Yeah, we arrived like 1 a.m. like today, and then I think we had a good rest since we are playing game 3, so I think it's fine. But yeah, still it's playing for 15 hours, so we're kind of tired.
Kind of tired, but ready for the match. Okay, your opponent today is Vici Gaming. What pick will surprise you the most?
I think it's more about the offlaner. Their thing with the FY and then Yang, the offlaner and support duo, and then I think that's just like those kind of way they can like kind of play around with us. But I think we're kind of prepared even that one.
Thank you. And have you ever been to Kyiv? Have you seen the city?
Yeah, we went to Star Ladder like 9 and 11 from my memory. So I think I've been here for twice. I like the roche and the chocolate there. Yeah.
It's very tasty, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope you'll see a little bit of the Kyiv in this tournament, and good luck in your future matches. Thank you.
Well, there you go. And joining me on the panel for this series, we've got LD back again, and we have upgraded from Discount Matt Damon to Discount Keanu Reeves. We've got Fogged here in the middle seat. How you guys doing?
How am I Keanu Reeves, man? Doing pretty good, though.
Well, you can act better than he can, so.
That's a stretch.
Ouch. Well, all I got to say is 1 Allen down, 1 to go.
Oh, man. Hurts my heart.
That was pretty mean.
So we have talked a lot.
No, he's really impressive, by the way. That whole bit at the beginning, like, you see him, like, staring straight at the camera as a viewer. You're like, oh, he's probably got a teleprompter. Allen literally has that all in his head.
Yep.
So my hat's off to you. But
Well, thank you.
impressive memory.
First time hosting, no rehearsal, YOLO. Anyway, no, let's talk a little bit about MVP because I think this team, really more so than any other team in the last few months in Pro Dota, has their own distinctive play style. They've surprised everybody at Shanghai, came out and duplicated that result. What is it about their play style that you find so compelling? Because we've talked about this team.
Yeah. Well, they're just a team that has no downtime. They're always looking to fight. They are constantly being on the aggressive path. They don't act like the reactors. They always are just ready for fights, never going back to their jungle, never farming. You just see them constantly moving, and I think that's a big thing of just Dubu. He really leads them into doing that all the time, and it's really impressive to watch.
Yeah, Dubu, I think, is a real pleasant surprise for this team. You know, everybody, of course, knows Nuts from TI5, the sunglasses swag with his Witch Doctor. Dubu, though himself a Witch Doctor player and came in relatively recently, has done a great job captaining and drafting for this team. What stands out to you about MVP, LD?
I think to me, they remind me a lot of CDEC at TI5, where they have shaped the meta. They didn't get quite as far at the major, but I mean, overall, like you look at the team, they're not afraid to completely go off the wall in terms of the picks, whether it's the solo mid PL or picking something that looks outrageously greedy like PL Ember and then just dominating from minute 10, where you look at this draft, you're like, okay, surely these guys are going to farm and just go for late game, but that's not the case at all. They run at you and they get kills. So I think more than anything for me, it's the fact that they don't care about the meta. They create their own meta. And to me, that's the exciting thing about watching them.
They're exciting to watch, too. And just looking at QO right there, he's smiling the whole time, and it just makes you smile, makes you happy to watch that. But I wanted to say one more thing, too. When I was watching Shanghai Major, and I was watching, of course, Dota Pit, I was really looking at Liquid and MVP as two of the big ones, because these guys were just, like LD was saying, they create their own meta. They're able to just, with their pressure and with them just really, I guess I guess you can't say not caring, but they don't care about the flavor of the month. They just go for their own things, what they know is going to work, and what they feel in their own games. Like that's what you learn playing through pubs, which is what you learn playing so much. You see QO is like one of the highest MMR players. He plays all the time. you learn things when you play these pubs.
Well, I want to, and we do have another team to talk about, so I want to get on from this, but I want to ask you guys really quickly, because you both brought this up. Whenever you have a team like this that creates their own meta, that runs these very distinctive strats like CDC at TI5, you get a lot of people saying, oh, they're going to get figured out. Other teams are going to adjust. And yet MVP keeps winning. What do you think is the secret? Other teams have not been able to adjust to their early pressure.
Maybe Fnatic's got the answer, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can look to SEA, where I think if you look at any of the big LANs, that you're right, no one's figured them out. In fact, they've only gotten stronger. Like, as you mentioned, they not only beat EG 3-0, but beat them so bad that they changed their roster. But, I mean, that probably was a long time coming anyway. But
definitely.
Looking at their online matches, a lot of the recent qualifiers, Fnatic has them figured out, it seems. TNC has consistently taken games off them. Those are the two other big teams in SEA who I'd say are their tough competition. But at the same time, I think they're able to adapt. Like, we don't see them just blindly pick the exact same heroes every game. They have their go-to heroes, just like Alliance does, with the Nature's Prophet, the offlane Lone Druid, less frequent now, the Beastmaster, the jungle heroes for Ake, the Loda heroes that can fight early to mid-game, but also scale well with farm. Like, yes, they have their consistent hero pool, but they'll throw in wrinkles, whether it's an Earth Spirit pick here or there, or just suddenly busting out a push trees strat. So to me, MVP is deeper than those go-to picks. Those are just what get them the easy wins, and they also worry you as a drafter. You're like, oh, are we going to ban PL first phase? Are we going to counterpick a PL before we see it? It throws you off your game.
Well, I do want to make sure that we give some attention to our team on the other side, which is Vici Gaming Reborn. And I really think in some ways, Vici Reborn is the story of the Chinese roster shuffle. You have FY, who is known to a lot of people as one of the most technically adept, one of the most gifted players in the world, basically willingly leaving Vici Gaming's first squad to captain this Vici Gaming Reborn team with a set of players that aren't necessarily what you would expect of a player of his caliber. You get DDC, the veteran support, joining him, ZYF, sort of high ceiling carry, but FY is really the key to this team, and we have for you guys a video featuring the gifted young Chinese superstar.
Hello everyone, I'm here with FY from Vici Gaming and Sven, who will help me to translate from Chinese to English. Hi guys, did you like Kyiv? Have you managed to look something around, to walk around, or you just played a lot?
你好，请问你对来到基辅这个城市有什么感受？有没有四处逛一下看一下？
因为第一次来乌克兰吧，感觉这个城市很小。 然后人很多，很热闹吧，很温馨的样子。
Well, it's his first time to Kyiv, to Ukraine, and he saw it's a small city and a very warm, yes, warm in heart it means.
Thank you. And did you manage to play a little bit? Maybe you can say, did you like European pubs? Is it different to Asian ones?
你们来到 乌克兰，然后打的都是欧服，在欧服上碰到的那些玩家，有没有跟亚服的、跟国服的玩家有什么区别？
说实话，欧服这边的人相对于国服来说，可能没有国服那么脏吧，就是打的会比较随意一点，偶尔会碰见非常坑的选手。
Honestly, the Euro server players are all very freestyle, and sometimes their performance is really bad.
Yeah, I'm sorry that you had this impression. Thank you very much, and good luck in your further matches. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the incomparable FY. And one thing we should also mention about Vici Gaming Reborn is they will be playing with a stand-in at this weekend's event. Their coach, Mikasa, has stepped in to fill the shoes of the young mid, Nono, who'd been doing very, very well. Mikasa himself, though, has a history at the mid position. He actually played mid, I believe, for CDC for a while before they got Shiki joining the team. So hopefully there's not too much of a drop-off there. But, guys, I want to ask my co-panelists, based on what you've seen, they've played some online matches. Almost 30 online matches with this new roster now. What do we think about Vici Gaming Reborn so far?
They're very different. They're not afraid to try stuff. You see, I mean, FY, at least, he plays any hero. We saw the other day, he hasn't picked Chen in a while. He's been playing a little bit in Enchantress and stuff, then he picks like Chen 2 games back to back. And it's just, you don't really see why, but in his head, he must have an idea. And it's really interesting to see how they just go a different way with the drafts than a lot of other teams, just trying like anything really.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, probably ZYF is sort of the most predictable player in terms of what they're going to pick from. Very similar to Loda in terms of what they'll draft. You see a lot of Gyrocopter, Juggernaut, Sven, but he's just a staple carry, and that's what they look for out of him. They're not looking for like crazy flashy plays or really unusual pocket picks.
Tell me a little bit about ZYF though in particular, because he's a guy that I've heard a lot of people talking about. He's been around for a while, still on the younger side, but I've heard a lot of people talking about him as a very high ceiling player who almost people are waiting for him to break out, and that hasn't really happened yet. You, I know, have casted a lot of his games. What do you think about him as a player?
I definitely think he has a very high ceiling, so I agree with that. For a while, ZYF was looking like basically what Aggressive has become. I think Aggressive was in a similar position a couple of months back. The difference with ZYF is he was on, I'm trying to remember what the team was, but he was on a strong team playing against top competition in China, and then he sort of lost that opportunity. He either got cut or moved to another team and wasn't able to continue growing as a player. But he's finally getting his new shot. I think he was a sub for one of the teams for a while, but now he's back on a starting roster, and to me, it's just a matter of had time and experience for him. Like, he's got the mechanics, he has the individual skill. Sometimes the decision making hasn't been there in the past, but the more that he plays, the better that he gets. And he hasn't
not outside really. Okay, yeah.
Not recently, at least. So I want to pick your brain on this Fog because
he's a bit on the quieter side from what we hear. He's generally, despite his flashy play and people looking at him as the drafter, he's not necessarily the shot caller for the team, but that doesn't mean that he can't help his teammates grow. And they've also got DDC on the team as someone else who can bring that experience to the table. So to me, ZYF just needs time, and I think he's going to get it with this team.
Has he played at, how many LANs has he played at?
ZYF, I think he played at
a few, right?
In
yeah,
China,
in China.
He hasn't
not
traveled
outside
much
really. Okay, yeah.
Not recently, at least. So I want to pick your brain on this Fog because you said VG.Reborn, on paper at least, with their roster, they have a lot of options.
Yep.
And so let me put it to you directly. How do you beat MVP? If you're drafting for their team right now, what's your concept in terms of looking to counter what they do?
They can just play with their own game. They don't really have to. I think worrying too much about the other team is going to hinder you. I think that's probably how they're going to feel as well. Sure, MVP has some of these heroes. They have their bans, so they're going to take out MVP's, let's say, like, what, Bounty Hunter? That's one that they've been having a great time on with Febby. And then probably just taking out one of the common heroes, the new like flavor of the month, like we were saying before, these Beastmasters or something. Maybe not Beastmaster because MVP doesn't look at that one too much, but probably the Bounty Hunter, Earth Spirit, stuff like that, and then just focus on their own. We see FY go for like I was saying, the Chen earlier. He also goes for like these Wind Ranger supports and all these just outside the box. He can really play with the other team because if he picks these and the other team isn't too prepared, they're gonna be like, where's this Wind Runner going? Like, what's going on with this? What's this hero doing? Where are they really gonna go with this?
Right. No, I actually think that's a really powerful point. I think that maybe when you have a team like MVP, they see so many teams that are trying to counterpick them that they're usually the ones that are proactive, not necessarily reactive in the drafting. I think that's interesting. And VG.Reborn, it bears pointing out that they're comfortable with early aggression. The average match time in their wins is just under 30 minutes. Average match time in their losses is just over 41. So they're comfortable playing quick games and getting off to those early leads. But in terms of specific cores, is there anything that you like for ZYF here against that early pressure of MVP?
I mean, honestly, all three of the carries that I mentioned, which I think they're all pretty good against what MVP like to do. You've got Sven, Gyrocopter, pretty good against PL, which is obviously one of the big staple picks for MVP. They also come online early. They can scale well with farm. Yep. They can come to fights. Juggernaut, same thing. I mean, maybe not so good against an illusion-based hero, but just for that tempo of the game, suits it well.
I also really like this, like the Sven and the Gyro, because Gyro may be a little bit different than the Sven, just because Sven, once he gets, let's say most of the people are doing that Dominator build, you go to the jungle, you farm, and then you can give your lane to somebody, which is perfect for FY. That's basically where he shines. He loves to be a little bit greedy. He loves to get his levels. He loves to get his farm so he can make those plays because he's really good at them. Gyro is a bit different because he brings the aggression. They're going to be able to rotate with it, and then same thing. They'll have FY be able to take over the lane, make his own position in the game. So I think it's a really good point, those two heroes that you said.
Yeah, and you mentioned how you can just bust out a jungler for FY. Yep. At the same time, you can also go for like an Iron Talon Night Stalker who's doing that.
Yeah, he was doing that
a bit earlier in the patch, and there were games where it would be like 4 minutes in, he'd be level 4, level 5. He buys his first smoke, and he just gets like smoke gank after
Goes
smoke
make
gank.
plays.
By the time the first night time's over, you feel like you can't leave the lanes, and that's coming from a support position.
Yeah.
So he's definitely the X factor, especially with Mikasa standing in. We'll have to see how much that affects the team. I am curious to see what position he plays. We were actually kind of debating it here before the game began. There's some people who are thinking maybe FY would take over the mid role. Gods was pointed out. I think it's a very fair point that then you're taking probably your most crucial player out of his comfort zone. FY generally a bit on the quieter side, but I imagine in this team, DDC is not known for being particularly vocal. That FY is calling a lot of shots in the laning stage through the first 10 minutes, and then suddenly Mikasa is going to have to be the one to do it. He's a coach, but Dota coaching is not really the same as like Counter-Strike, where you're like actively participating in the round. You're strategizing before and after game. So I think most likely FI will be in the 4 position, and I think most likely we are going to see him be the engine for the team, whether it's a pocket jungler, whether it's a Night Stalker pick. If they try to do it off the wall strategy, he's going to be the X factor for the team in terms of how they play.
I don't think it's a good idea for them to change it so much. Like they already have a stand-in. They don't want to change it also to have like, oh, FY now you're mid now. Now you're not support.
Let's change
Let's just
all
change
the
up all
roles.
over the place. I think it's a little bit too much. Maybe they'll do it, but I really don't think so.
And I think we were talking about this off camera, that if you were to rank the positions in terms of what's the most difficult to pick up if you're a stand-in, I think support right there, especially right now with how choreographed the early rotations tend to be. I think support is a really, really hard role to ask somebody to come and stand in.
Like carry is obviously probably the best one just because you're just farming for the first bit. Mid, maybe a little bit tougher. Offlane seems like it could be actually okay too, because you're kind of left on your own unless you have you can call for rotations or whatnot. So,
right. So what about MVP.Phoenix? Do you think more of the same? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Or you think we're going to see any kind of variation from them?
I don't see why they would, right? I mean, maybe Fnatic's got them on a little bit of a little jump on their heart just because of them losing 4 times in a row to them recently.
Oh, they were 1-5 in 6 games, lost 2 straight series. I do think there is, in spite of following up Shanghai with Dota Pit and that run of success that they've had, I do think there is a little bit of pressure on that team. It's not just the Fnatic games. They've had some inconsistency in general recent in their online matches.
Yeah, so they're coming off of a couple losses, we're saying, and then VGR is coming off of winning four seasons of the H Cup, I believe. So they've got some momentum coming in, even though we've been saying the stand-in, but I don't see why. I don't know. Unless they're MVP's really shaken up, I don't see why they change up what they're doing. It's been working. They're good at what they're doing. We're saying they're the meta changers kind of in a way. So I don't see why they wouldn't, unless they have some really cool things that they've been planning, which we'll get to see, which will be very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what Vici picks. I'm not sure that they're going to be busting out like the Medusa that we've seen Fnatic running necessarily. But one hero that comes to mind that could be really big is, DJ was playing a lot of Bounty Hunter in that series and just in general, and it's been quite effective against Fnatic. That could be a hero that they turn to, and again, that would probably be the FY hero. Yeah. So I feel like a lot of the key heroes in this matchup are going to be his.
Yeah, and that's something that Vici Gaming has been banning a lot in their recent series. I think they first banned him in 5 out of the last 6 drafts. Yeah. So that's a player that we haven't talked about yet on MVP.Phoenix was just on your screen is Forev. I think he's been doing a lot of us worried when March departed the team that you'd have that leadership void, and March had a bunch of games on a Spirit Breaker where he was just impossible to kill. Yep. And we've seen that same kind of play from Forev on a Bristleback, for example, even on a Spirit Breaker, being able to get in and out of engagements without dying.
Yeah, don't sleep on the IO. I mean, you're mentioning Bristleback. Hero hasn't been the most successful in this patch, but if there's any team that can make it work, it's going to be MVP, and it's going to be with an IO.
It's Alliance and it's MVP, the 2 big teams that have the Wisps, at least as their
don't
secret.
Don't sleep on OG, baby.
Oh, yeah, OG, sorry. Oh, that was the other one. That's right, because Crit has one of the best Wisps as well. That's a very good point.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think we're going to go into the game for our picks and bans.
Let's see what we got.
All right, here we go. MVP.Phoenix are taking. That's a very good first ban. This is one of the things I've really liked so far today. These teams have pretty clearly done their homework for this event because Vici Gaming Reborn are 8-1 with ZYF on that Sven, and MVP.Phoenix goes ahead and takes that out. It's a very non-standard first phase ban, but I think it's definitely appropriate in this matchup.
Yeah. They ban out the Beastmaster as well for Phoenix. Let's see if Vici. Do they ban out?
And they are 5-0 on Beastmaster in this patch. So relatively small sample size, but that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And Vici Gaming going ahead and continuing their recent trend of banning out that Bounty Hunter. I think that's hard to argue with. That hero is just in the hands of MVP.Phoenix. That's a team that really likes to fight continuously anyway.
So are you giving away the Dubu Earth Spirit here? Can you afford to do that?
I think they ban it. It's you give up what, like OD or Furion or whatever, but I think that's. I mean, Enchantress too. Sorry, these teams also highly regard Enchantress.
Both teams can run the junglers, as we were talking about. So yeah, it's a tough choice for Vici, and I mean this is why we see pretty much every team when they have the choice, they go for first pick.
Well, let's hope I'm right. I said before, right? Bounty Hunter or Spirit when we were talking about it. So
yeah.
Let's see if we got that at least.
I think
you're already doing better than Alan. Not you, Al. The other one. That's why we replaced him.
This is Charles, right?
Yeah, this is Charles.
Oh, get out of here.
Mick.
Which is your real name?
Charles is my first name. I go by my middle name, and that's
Okay.
been since I was born.
Why? What's wrong
really?
with Charles?
I didn't know that.
No, that was my parents' choice.
okay.
It
So
is the
Ench.
Enchantress.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was and that was between the Enchantress and the Earth
So they
Spirit.
go
And they're
for the
going to go
Furin
with the
instead.
Nature's Prophet, leaving the Earth Spirit to Vici
Teams
Gaming
are
Reborn.
shying away a bit from the Earth Spirit so far. I mean, it's small sample size of this event, but we saw it ignored in game 1. Then VP are like, oh, we should take it. And then they first pick him, didn't work out. MVP,
Yeah, it didn't
historically,
work
when
out.
Dubu can get his hands on it, they normally go for it, but they're changing the script a bit.
Yeah, it's still though. I like Dubu on that Witch Doctor. I think he's.
Oh yeah, he has a deep hero.
Does
pool for
Vici
sure.
take it here? You know, take the first two, deny pick, and it's really good versus Furion in the lane.
Yeah, that's.
It
I
could
don't.
be.
I don't necessarily know that you take the Witch Doctor on Vici.
First
but
two,
I think you can. I think you can MVP.
First overall Witch Doctor.
Yeah, but that's
Bam.
Or
Yeah,
Spirit,
there's the
yeah.
Earth Spirit. Yeah, I think it's kind of a no-brainer. Maybe follow up with
Does FY play the Earth Spirit?
Well, it was Fenrir when
I know, yeah,
Vici,
it was Fenrir.
I don't know what you call them. Vici Gaming Classic were running it, but
So then it would probably be DDC playing that, unless they put on a core roll, which is
it's
definitely
so
possible.
weird seeing him in red now. I'm so used to that Vici Gaming,
green.
like
Yeah.
bright green.
Yeah,
I'm like, is that an LGD?
Yeah,
I
they
didn't
walked
even
into the
recognize
room
him
upstairs. Right.
gyro.
Wow.
So, very stable hero for ZYF. Pretty good at de-pushing the Prophet. Can get involved early. But
Definitely
OD
gonna
is
take
still
the
out
OD.
there.
First OD of the day.
And that is just a
Where's the
brutal
Omni
hero
Knight?
in Kyo's hands.
You know, OD is very good, of course, but there is silences are extremely good for him versus him. So Earth Spirit already innately has two abilities, which are going to
Wow.
just do extremely well versus him. But at the same time, yes, it is an OD, and we've all seen how destructive that hero can be.
And not just silences, but the way to beat that hero is you gank him mid.
Yes,
And that's what
and that's
Earth Spirit's
exactly
going
what
to
Earth
do.
Spirit does.
Yeah, all
Precisely.
day long. Now the gyro pick to me is more about ZYF has a little bit smaller hero pool than the
Yeah.
rest of the team.
I think they're just trying to solidify something that he's very comfortable with. You know, like the Sven's already banned out. They might as well go for the gyro. It helps you versus the gyro or versus the Furin as well because you're able to assist when taking out the treants, in case you don't have a support that's too good at dealing with them.
Yeah, you don't pick his hero now. Maybe they ban Gyro, potentially even a Jug or something like that, and then you're a bit limited in terms of options.
Yeah.
So
Well, we're going to go into our second phase of the draft here. Get to see the bans. I think that's a Templar Assassin ban. Oh no,
That's
it's
a
Darkseer.
Darkseer.
Okay, pink versus purple.
yeah, we're having to get creative with watching the draft. We've got some.
Darkseer.
Well, that's okay.
It's
We
a
get
Is that a
bench,
the
right?
Broodmother
dramatic
ban, I
player
think?
shots.
I think that was a Brood.
Broodmother.
Was
Man,
that a Brood
Are
ban?
my eyes that bad? I'm wearing glasses and everything too. Come on.
He's laughing
DDC's
at
got
the
a
mere
big
thought.
smile right now.
Yeah, that smile vaguely reminds me of the smile that it was extinct at TI3 when they're like, oh, they're gonna give me Sand King. They're gonna give me Sand King. And needless to say,
Yeah,
epicenters were had.
yeah, that worked out.
Yeah.
That worked out.
So if that smile's any indication, then surely Vici are gonna take this.
Hey, I wouldn't bet. I mean, Extinct himself doing a very, very nice job coaching here for Fnatic recently.
Oh yeah, that was one of the big stories at Shanghai.
Yeah.
Actually, was him as well as Kenshi,
Kenshi, yeah,
who
team's former manager.
apparently helps Mushi keep his cool.
So do we know what heroes Mikasa favors?
Gods was telling me that he used to be known as
Was
a
it
Templar Assassin player.
It was Templar
yeah,
Assassin?
yeah.
Okay.
But obviously that hero.
Cheeky heroes, TA,
Yeah.
Lena.
Maybe, I mean, a Puck as well is decent versus the OD if you have the Earth Spirit. Maybe they go for that Bat Rider, which we've been seeing a bit. I'm not sure if that's a little bit outside of the box for Vici, but we have been seeing people do it. And with, we've been saying Earth Spirit roaming constantly could be pretty decent to
Great
pressure.
against Bat Rider would be great against NP. Can be decent against OD. I mean, normally the banish is a pretty good way to deal with the initiation, but if you get the perfect jump,
I actually
pull him
wanted to
out of
ask Fogg
position.
about that. Like, I saw a couple games in the last couple weeks where Batrider was actually against OD mid and actually did pretty well, much better in that laning matchup than I thought. Do you think that's a viable matchup for Batrider OD mid?
I think it can do well. Like, even if the beauty about Batriders is even if you do not so great in the lane,
Yeah.
you're going to be able to go to jungle. But OD doesn't have that great of a power of pushing the lane out. So if Batrider just stickies up the creeps and then fireflies and just runs to a rune, your lane's pushed in. You're not going to go follow him to the rune unless you have backup. So that's at least the good thing about that. And, of course, OD's turn rate is quite awful. So if you have those sticky stacks on you and you're not really too good at, or not too used to it or not too good at controlling the way you're backpedaling and everything, it can be devastating.
And there's the staple witch doctor pick from MVP.Phoenix. 8-4 here in their last month of play is
something to
well in
counter
that
tower
hero.
diving from an Earth Spirit to counter gank potentially, and just a pretty safe support pick in general.
It's just always, I mean, it's just great versus Earth Spirit in general. Like, the cask is very good because if he rolls in and he doesn't get the silence off, it's just, he's already in
He's
a position.
dead,
and then
basically, yeah.
the Voodoo Restoration is something you can never overlook, especially versus Earth Spirit. Once that AoE damage is taking off, he can just heal it up. And that's a very good response right here by Vici.
So what do you like about the Death Prophet? I get a little bit nervous about Death Prophet going up potentially against OD in a 1v1 situation. But
Shouldn't be in a 1v1, though.
okay.
It's an Earth Spirit game.
Earth Spirit should, I'm pretty sure they're going to be sitting that Earth Spirit mid, and like, all he has to do really is just kind of bait the Astrals and just keep putting the Spirit Siphon on him constantly. Every time he walks up, Earth Spirit just rolls in. They're able to get a lot of damage on him.
So
and another thing is, sorry, didn't mean to keep going, but
No, go ahead.
Keep on going.
it's also another hero that has wave clear. So it's going to be constantly pushing the wave into the OD, letting him be able to get rune control a bit.
And Roche as well.
And Roche,
Something
exactly.
Gyro, unlike, say, a Sven, doesn't really give you. So
Yeah, and now they're able to, with these heroes, they're going to have really good options of invading the enemy jungle. They can bring either the Gyrocopter at level 6 or the Death Prophet if he opts to get like level 7 early. He doesn't really need his ultimate to rotate. He can just go with the Spirit Siphon and the Swarms.
So what are you looking at the carry position over on MVP?
Well,
for
that's
MP?
the tough part, right? Because this is a case where, like, you'd often figure, oh, they'd love to go for something like an Ember Spirit that's just a tempo controller that can work well with NP. Doesn't really feel that appealing against a Lion, Earth Spirit, and Death Prophet. That's a lot of control and
You
silence.
could get crazy and go for a Drow strat.
They have done quite a few Drow strats.
Yep.
That is true. Have they ever put OD short lane, or do they just surely put it mid every game?
I have
oh no,
seen them-
they rotate a lot of heroes between
Okay.
between QO. I don't know the stat. I don't have the stats up specifically on OD, but they rotate a lot of heroes between QO and MP.
They have run a mid.
one
They
of
have
those
run them
things.
safely before. We have seen teams run the Drow mid just to get the fast level 6 situationally, Lycans as well.
Yeah, Navi did that the other day, and it
Against
did
an
not
Earth
work
Spirit,
out.
I don't think you're doing that,
Juggernaut.
but
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a good response.
a little bit safer than something like an Ember.
And this is this again the Juggernaut, a trademark MVP.Phoenix hero. Just goes so well with the tempo that they like to play. Guys, I don't know. I think so far what I'm seeing is what Fogg mentioned earlier. Vici Gaming is more or less sticking to their guns.
Yeah.
They haven't necessarily changed their draft concept around MVP.Phoenix, but we're going to get to see MVP.Phoenix Dota here.
Yeah, I didn't get to say also for the Death Prophet as well as the obvious, the 2 spells that we were saying before. He also has a silence, which is what we were saying, super good versus OD until he gets that BKB. If he's not able to drop those orbs in team fights, he's not that strong. He's quite weak.
Yeah, especially now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, BKB is amazing this game versus Vici Gaming Reborn. It's basically all magic damage aside from the Exorcism.
Yeah, Gyrocopter and Exorcism.
So
So they
what
need an
are
offlaner.
Offlaner.
Doom.
Oh, okay.
And that's another, like people have been saying, it's a great response for the OD in general. If he's doomed, he's completely out of the fight, and it's not too hard to get in on top of him for that.
Jug's a great Doom candidate as well if the OD's been dealt with or isn't in the fight.
Yeah. The one nice thing is they do have, like we were saying, the heals from the Witch Doctor. They have Healing Ward, which can help a lot versus the Doom. And now
There we go.
their MVP is also just
Man,
they're
oh,
sticking.
man.
Both teams are just sticking to their own guns.
The poor man's Earth Spirit.
I'm really happy to
Right.
see Tusk. I was asking just before this game.
You
I was
were.
like, when are we gonna see Tusk? And this was the game to see
I
an
was going to
MVP.
give you a shout out for that.
Yeah.
But so really quickly, guys, before we throw it to our casters, predictions from you two.
For this game.
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna regret this. I'm saying Vici this game.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh god, I feel like this is a very even draft overall. Both teams have great late game, decent laning stages, strong supports, they scale well. I think draft-wise, it's very even.
I think draft is very easy.
Vici Gaming have a stand-in. It is on an important role in the mid lane. Mikasa's a solid stand-in. It's not like they put in like a 3K MMR player or something, but
Say it.
I gotta say MVP.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, all right. I got to go with MVP as well. And with that, let's send it off for our
Fine by me.
casters.
Thank you so much, Nahaz, here in the caster station, if you will, with the other Alan, Mr. Ryuu Boris, Dota's finest, as we get to cast Korea versus China. Should be an awesome one. So we got to hear a lot from the panel as far as how they felt the match is going to go. What do you think?
I agree with Giannis, or Fogged as he goes by. I think he hit the nail on the head. I mean, you have the Doom taking out the OD. They have a lot of silences on their team to really deal with the OD, and I think they're just going to be able to shut him down. Meanwhile, the OD versus the DP matchup here in the mid lane, it's going to heavily favor, I think, the DP because you're going to have the rotations in with the Earth Spirit, and I think it's just going to be more better than this Tusk roaming around. So we're going to see what happens, though.
Yeah, we saw it in the last series with virtus.pro and their pickup of the Earth Spirit. If you're not able to really get a lot done at the start, if you're missing your rolling boulders and not really able to kind of make that early game impact, you tend to really fall off the radar as far as farm goes. And the next thing you know, you're trailing behind before you can get your magnetize underway, and you feel like you're not really able to contribute a whole lot. Yeah, it's an Earth Spirit, and he's almost like the Swiss Army knife of any hero where he has so much utility, but you know, it can waver at times a bit, but this is going to be an FY Earth Spirit at the end of the day. And as LD had mentioned, it's something we usually have seen in the hands of Fenrir when he was on his VG Gaming squad. So I am going to be curious to see how FY is going to be able to roll with it here. We see some early movement coming out from MVP with that smoke, but we might see an early skirmish here towards the top rune, but it actually looks like VG are going to be pulling off and away from that skirmish and looking to just grab up that rune at the bottom lane instead.
Yep, MVP has really good early game potential with the Juggernaut, and then you can have the snowball potential catching a lot of these heroes out. So good at VGR kind of dodging it, even though you do have a lot of damage coming with the Rocket Barrage, but if they're grouped up, it wouldn't happen. So lanes are going to be kind of standard here as we thought. It's going to be dual lanes. So who's going to be getting the most out of the off lanes now? Forev is already doing his pull shenanigans, and they can't really stop this. So that's going to help him a lot, as well as the Doom over here. Dakota is already starting in lane. This could be where the first misstep happens.
Mid lane is where we're going to see probably that first roll in, and there it comes.
Nice
FY
dodge.
swinging a miss on the rolling boulder, will not have the slow. So
He
QO
had
is going to be
that.
able to walk away, yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. You get that first swing and miss, and you're not going to be able to make that early game impact that you like. It will force QO to go right into the south, but had there been the slow, that could have been your first
Yeah, but you
blood.
see the difference. I mean, you see Tusk, I just shard in, but then you have the Earth Spirit coming in, hitting him. It just does so much more work here. And, well, they're still going to be babysitting him. Febby is, and as well as, it looks like FY might be trying to set up for a gank here on Forev. Doesn't have any wards scouting it out.
He's going to wait in the dark in the meantime, but that's typically what you want to do on your Earth Spirit when you're kind of in between gank potentials. You want to kind of stay off vision and try to make any sort of gank attempt a bit of a surprise right here. Deep commitment mid lane, though, as they go for Mikasa. He's going to get off the Soul Siphon here, but the roll forward comes out from the snowball of Febby and QO.
Doesn't have a tango
Even
ready.
a rotation coming in for Ev on this one. 3 men involved, and they're still not going to be able to get her.
That could have been really good if they had Sprout, but he's not there, missing a boulder from FY, but now he's in trouble. Do they have shards or anything? He's Snowball. FY seems to be dead here. Can he get in range?
Febby trying to get close enough. The shards are going to be up now, but DDC has been able to rotate over, and now we're just going to see
3v3 in the river, Dakota.
Yeah,
what is this?
This is just gang turf right here, and now the stun's going to be coming out. It's on to Febby. They turn over, going to get the Hex on for QO. Snowball in, they pick him up, and they roll him on forward, and it's going to be Febby with the nice first blood there. It's going to be MVP who will strike first.
Yeah, poor little lion. He's just the squishiest of them all, getting caught out there, and that's going to help out a lot. For your roaming Tusk now, should be having boots on the career. Yeah, he has the boots. He's going to be waiting for QO to get up his bottle before they start bringing in mid. And that's going to help him a lot when he's...
FY, just again off the mark on the roll, and look how quick it can lead to trouble. FY going to be going down, and even Mikasa going to eat a lot of the brunt damage there. We are going to be going to a pause, and I mean, got to say it again, man. You think the hero is just like the easiest thing on earth, but if you happen to miss those rolling boulders, you put yourself in such a hairy situation.
And it's just set up by this ward over here, Dakota. I mean, they have this perfect one where it didn't get dewarded, and they're just having all the vision of the Earth Spirit. So he kind of is forced to go either from, either behind or from this hill. Like, he can come from the right side or he can come from the left side. But going from the middle lane, he's just going to get dodged every single time because they have eyes on him.
We'll have to see what he's going to be doing to make recovery there. It's hard to keep your eyes away from this mid lane because of all the ridiculous action that's been breaking out. But let's kind of scope how things have been happening on the other side of the globe here. Yang in the bottom lane on his Doom has been able to string together 8-0 CS. On the opposing lane, though, you have MP on his Jug, highest CS in the game right now, 17-2. When you look at the core on the opposing side of the map, it being ZYF here on his prized gyrocopter, 16-3. And then, of course, we're going to have Forev here on the Nature's Prophet at 8-2.
Yeah. And you just saw how aggressive Forev plays his Nature's Prophet. He doesn't care if he's going to TP in and just get, 1 or 2 right clicks. That's how he plays. And once he starts getting up the Sprout, Mikasa is going to have tangos, like at all times. Else the DP is just going to get caught out constantly with the massive rotations that come in from MVP. Like the panelists talked about, this is the team that will put the pedal to the metal always, no matter what.
And with this Tusk continuing to flirt around this mid lane, I would not be surprised if Febi's going to be quick to pull that trigger here. But for now, just kind of playing it a bit slow. Same can go for FY, who's kind of finding his position here. Still at level 1, needs to find his own bit of groove. Bottom rune, not too contested here. Dubé made the rotation over, but they're not going to find anything from it, and he'll just continue to work with the pulls and getting that lane equilibrium closer to the tower and make things that much easier there for MP on his Jug.
Yep. Doom still having a good time in the off lane. Doesn't have the best creep to work with right now, a Tornado. So he's not going to be setting up any easy kills on the mid lane perhaps, but it's going to be interesting to see when Yang is going to start rotating around because we've already talked about it. Forev, he's done a really nice job. MP, not level 6 here, just flirting with them, and that's when we can start seeing these solo kills on the Doom.
One quick coconut setup, an Omni Slash, and this Doom could be in a bit of trouble. And if you look at the support staff there for VG.Reborn, they could rotate in and assist. Right now they don't really have any sort of TP scrolls, but there's not going to be much aid there for the Doom. And then you're looking at 2, maybe even 3 lanes, all one for MVP at the start of this one. As Kyo's getting right back in his groove at 15-8 CS. This Death Prophet, though, 8-3 Ryuu. It's been a struggle.
It's just what happens when you go for those early commitments and the ES doesn't help out and you just start giving kills over to the enemy team. They get more items to work with, and they're on the back foot now, and DP is just, I don't know if it's because Mikasa is just getting outlaned skill-wise or if it's just, those early games hurting him so much right now. And yeah, this is the problem. Blocked off.
And they roll forward. Mikasa trying to turn the corner. FY will land this rolling boulder. It's decent. And he's going to get quickly astraled up. And here comes ZYF. Drops down the call down. It is not going to be a big connection there. And they're going to have to step back instead. So rotation over. And there's a lot of fireworks, but no bloodshed for this one.
I'm so happy to see VGR kind of play that style where you just immediately have a TP in from your carry. And that's just showing you how much respect they give over to MVP and their aggression. If they had overcommitted from MVP, that could have been a huge team wipe. Meanwhile,
Sprout here on the ZYF. My goodness, QO hits like a truck. Got to get the Astral off now. Surrounding him, trapped in. Can they finish off the gyrocopter? They certainly can. If they need one more auto collect, they got it. Man, that came from downtown, and they are certainly going to get the connection there. Already a hot start for MVP at 3-0.
So what can you do now for VGR to really stop it? It was kind of on that gyrocopter to make that gank happen, or the return gank happen. What are we looking at Doom? He's almost level 6, so maybe he can start finally getting involved in his team fights for Yang. And
QO is just taking advantage of the power level as he drops the hammer on the lady's head, and will be able to finish off Mikasa there. Goes right for the Astral. FY going to show up, kick stun. No, not going to connect. He's got the snowball. Will save him from the stun. Nicely done there from Febi, and that's going to allow QO to make a safe escape. Nicely done there.
Meanwhile, top lane, they're going to get a pick off on the Furion, and that was just a really nice setup from DDC, going to help him get up to his level 6. So VGR, even though they are losing out heavily in their mid lane, they still have the levels on their supports, on their off lane, so they can start making stuff happen. But I'm getting very worried once, talk about it. Odie is one of those heroes. If he starts falling behind, it's not going to be that, he can't catch up, but he's the one thriving exceptionally well on this mid lane.
We got a smoke here from MVP. MP, he's got that Omni Slash ready to go here. He sports his level 7 near level 8. And
Please help Mikasa.
And are they going to be able to get the catch? A swing and a miss on the shards
Mid
here.
lane, though. They're going to be rotating in.
Yes, they are. Oh, not going to catch with the rolling boulder there, but he does get the stun. Soul Siphon, a follow-up stun from DDC, and they just swarm onto that OD, and they will be able to take him down. Vici Reborn will be able to get another kill for themselves as they push it up a bit. Now 4-2. MVP still looking for some action here in the top lane. They'll just turn this instead into a push for the tier 1 tower.
Yep. Are they going to get it, though? They have TP rotations potentially from anyone. What is Doom looking like? Yang? Yeah, he has TP ready, so should be very worried right now for MVP not to overcommit. They still have the Doom to work with. MP can get off his Omni Slash before the Doom animation. Here we go, though.
Call down, right onto MP. He's going to go for the Blade Fury here, looking to retreat out. He's doomed up now, but a roll in comes out from FY. Beautiful stun connection, not one, but two for Forev as well.
Oh, this blocked from the right side.
They can't get in. There's the finger, though. It's going to be able to connect and get the finish, taking out the Furion, and now they're going to get the follow-up kill as they finish off Dubu's Witch Doctor. Vici Gaming Reborn now will tie things up 4-4 with that successful rotation to the top lane.
Oh my goodness, I can't stress enough how important Febi's play was there. With that block off, Lion would have just got them additional 1 or 2 kills onto the Juggernaut, potentially the Tusk too. Really well played from Febi so far on his Tusk.
And, well, they were not able to get the deny, though, on that tier 1, so Forev will be able to pick up the last hit. We'll sport MVP a little bit of extra moolah here, and they'll get right back into the grind of their farm as QO makes his return back towards this mid lane right now. Looking to finish out those power treads here, and we'll really just get back into the grind.
Yeah, and it just seems like it's going to come down to this mid lane here. Mikasa still only level 7, but he's caught up to the OD who's only level 7, so this is very interesting. I guess both mid laners are getting heavy prioritized, you know, seeing the rotations coming in from the Tusk as well as the Earth Spirit early on. It's been a bloodbath there. And
yeah, I mean, if you look at the levels for FY, this was a guy who was missing his opportunities for those early ganks and then really didn't have a home for himself to bring in the solo XP and was kind of starved at level 1 for quite a while.
The off-laners are almost higher level than the 2 solo mids as well. They're all level 7 right now. Oh, this is just great Dota. Yeah, action everywhere.
It's a bit all over the place here, but you would think that if action's going to be all over the place and it's going to feel very high octane, that would be to the benefit of MVP.
Right.
But Vici Gaming Reborn are showing that they can swing some punches themselves.
They just have set up that first gank with the Lion ulti perfectly, right when he got the level 6. And then that gank on the top lane, you saw it, talked about it, the Jug, all he can really do is Omni Slash first before you can get off the spin, or before the Doom gets casted, but instead he went for that spin, tried to back out, and then they were able to get caught. So far, VG are like neck and neck when they're trying to battle this pressure coming out from MVP. And yeah, it looks like we're going to have the game going underway. No long pauses. No Call Curses today, guys.
Nope, not yet at least. MP's going to go right for a Blade Fury TP out. Good for him. Yang was about to show up here, but you can tell they've been pretty thirsty to get some blood on the sword here for MP and make some use out of that first Omni Slash. But bottom rune here, it looks like Mikasa spots out Dubu, but Dubu's going to go right for the TP, and there's no way for her to stop that, so going to have to let the Witch Doctor go.
So right now you've only lost 1 tower against MVP. Pressure will still be mounted, and it is going to be the form of Febi once again. Going to make some plays. And this is very interesting. You will never see this maximum frozen sigil here on Febi, and he's going in mid lane.
There's the snowball right into Mikasa here, and this seems to be an easy pickoff with the help of the Omni Slash. I said easy, but the shards are not going to let him to pass. A rotation will come up from Yang, and
bottom lane
at that same moment, simultaneous action. It's going to be DDC who gets the pickoff there, taking down Forev.
Nice pickoff, and it just seems like every time MVP go for a gank, they're just not getting it. We saw it earlier in the top lane, now in the mid lane.
Yep. They are getting forced back. MVP are trying to creep in from the northern side. And this could be the best opportunity. Mikasa's still pretty low here and pretty low in the mana department as well. FY nearby, though, has that magnetized ready to go, and he has 4 stones to work with. They got a nice Doom here. They're going to try to save him up. They got the Astral there, but the magnetize. The Ebola begins to spread now. MP in big trouble. They're going to be dropping the Sanity's Eclipse. It's going to get the finish onto FY, but they've already got their own return fire. Finger onto QO, and they're going to get the finish, taking out the OD, and they're looking for more. Forev, a man on the run here, gets off a nice little sprout, and it might be able to get him away. He's going to be good. It turns into a 2-for-1 trade, though. One very profitable for Vici Gaming Reborn.
Man, that was without Gyrocopter ultimate as well as DP ulti. I am so scared right now if I'm an MVP fan. They just manhandled them. And that's just MVP getting a little bit too aggressive, not giving enough respect over to the Doom, as well as the Earth Spirit. Nice kick from FY, kind of, making up for early game. And they're just leaving this ward. What is happening? They're like saying, who do we want to give this to right now?
I'll take that XP and gold. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay, so I see what he did. He made sure,
Gets that extra bit of regen. That efficiency. I can appreciate that.
I was talking about it. I thought that Mikasa would be the one that needed the tangos, but it turns out ZYF is a little bit smarter.
Yeah,
so
we saw a bit of that at the Shanghai Major there. You don't want to get caught in those sprouts, especially in the heat of a battle. When you got someone like a Gyrocopter who is a bit limited on the heavy range, and there's going to be a roll in. Good slow connection even through that Blade Fury. Kick stun will be onto 2. Magnetize is going to be coming out, drops a new stone. That's going to be easily 2 to go down if they can't save themselves. They'll try their best. Good snowball from Febby, but they are going to have that Magnetize still there, and they will get the finish onto Febby. QO.
Oh, the miss.
Woo, barely going to be able to sidestep that boulder smash, and will avoid the trouble. But the ghosts are already out, and VG, they're just going to segue this into a tier 1 push.
Yep. Imagine if that kick had hit, or even Doom was up, and that's MVP. They're trying to press the fight when they know Doom is not down, or Doom is down, so they can win a team fight, but they still didn't. And right now, it's looking amazing for VGR, and maybe MVP are going to have to stop trying to run their heads at the enemy and try to go for the later game here.
They spotted FY, but it's Febby who gets caught out. There's a Hex. The stun follows up from FY, but there goes the Nature's Wrath, and it's going to do some serious work. The Earth Spirit is going to be going down. Doom onto QO. Here comes ZYF roading in with the Rocket Barrage. Soul Siphon from Mikasa. The Crypt Swarm's there, but not going to be enough to finish him off, but the Doom could tick down. Febby looking for the deny. Is going to be able to get it, and they get their own trade. MP going to be going down here, and, well, they're looking for more Febby. Trying to find a way out, but can't slip out. And it's going to be Vici Gaming Reborn. Again, a good, successful couple of pickoffs and a follow-up objective here. I got to say, Vici Gaming Reborn might not have been favorites coming into the series, but they're looking pretty hot in game number 1.
They're just looking amazing right now. You have 2 tanky heroes into the DP as well as the Doom, and they just have so much lockdown coming in from FY as well. They're just getting overwhelmed from MVP. They don't really have the burst damage because, the Tusk kind of went this, Frozen Sigil build. The Juggernaut is kind of like all on him to get a good Omni Slash off, and he's still only level 9, so he's not going to have those extra slashes to work with. It's very hard for them to burst these heroes right now from VGR.
So what do you do now if you're MVP and you're looking at a situation where you are getting bumped down quite a bit and you could be falling behind quite I mean, we're looking at the net worth now, the top 3 all belonging to Vici Gaming Reborn here. How do we get the cores from MVP to get back into the grind as it looks like Febby may be caught out once again. A 3-man movement, stun, finger, and feels like it's all DDC for that one, but they will get the Tusk takedown.
Yeah, at least that was only a support going down. Also could have been very bad. If any of these cores keep, their momentum keeps getting slowed, this OD is getting crippled. And meanwhile, you're talking about top lane. They want to set up a gank
One more
here.
stone, and I think FY could even get a solo kill here, and he's going to go for it. Roll all the way in, not going to connect with that one. Magnetize also is going to be a miss, but he gets the follow-up connection. He dropped the stone, but the kick of the stun not going to be there, and yeah, a bit sloppy there from FY, but it is going to allow the Nature's Prophet to make a slick escape.
Yeah, luckily that didn't happen later into the game, so he can reflect on it, hopefully fix it for later team fights. But that's just going to slow down the split push. Forev's going to be forced to retreat into the jungle, so he's going to be going for an Orchid, trying to shut down maybe the Lion on the back lines, even the DP, forcing her to maybe go for the Yules, but Yules is pretty standard on the DPs nowadays. You need that extra movement speed.
That race car build-up, but got to make sure you give some love to the stats here. She could be a pretty frail hero until later on when you're starting to build in those crazy like Octarine cores and hearts, even just Shivas, anything to kind of tank up a bit. But it does look like MVP are going to go on the assault for their second tier 1 tower here at the bottom lane. FY's nearby, but obviously he doesn't want to have anything to do with it, and it'll be a easy, secure tier 1 tower going the way of MVP. But we look at the net worth, and it's at the moment all Vici Reborn.
Yeah, they have really good game sense from MVP still when they're going around. Like, they realized that Gyrocopter TP top lane to set up for the kill. They knew he wouldn't have one, so they immediately took the bottom tower, and it's just the Furion effect. where you're just constantly pushing out all the lanes right now. So that's going to be their ticket, as you asked earlier, back into the game. Furion's going to have to make as much space as he can just for the cores to catch back up. And drums is not enough on an OD. He needs to have a BKB ASAP, and even then, they do have that BKB piercing spell and the Doom and the Spirit Siphon, so it's going to be so hard to kite VGR.
What do you think about the Nature's Prophet build-up? I don't know if you already touched on it a bit, but he's going for the Orchid grab here.
Yeah, I liked it for the, I talked about it a bit where it helped, oh, mid.
Ooh, QO going to be going down here as a fight does break out. It's an uppercut for the Doom, and it'll be a trade at one apiece. MVP, as they look to make a retreat, FY does roll in from the other side. Is not going to be able to get the catch on anyone, but he looks to isolate. Forev walks in, magnetized, nice pull silence onto the 2, follows it up with a good kick stun, but he's going to try his best before he does get dropped to get a couple of stones down here. Maybe one more might assist in finishing nice off Forev, but yeah, they will be able to follow up and take down the pesky little Nature's Prophet.
Oh, this sets up for Roche now with the Exorcism. Such a good gank, and it was all set up by this deep ward here for VGR, scouting out the OD. Sure, you trade off your Doom, but I'll take that any day, Doom for an OD, and now they're going to be able to take this Roche. And Witch Doctor's coming over here for Dubu. Put down a ward. This should get immediately de-warded eventually. Oh, no.
We'll get it quick, but we have a Doom out
top.
right now. Yeah, they're looking to go for MP here. Kick stun will connect, and that'll be a 2-man gank finishing off the Jug here. Things continue to come up roses right now for Vici Gaming Reborn. And now they have the benefit of the Aegis on their side, the momentum, and the pace is going to be on them.
And this Tusk is just heavily falling off. You saw Febby having an amazing kind of 8 minutes to this game, but now it's just, this Tusk is doing absolutely nothing. It's saving the OD when he's already on like 100 life or 200 life.
Yeah.
It's just not helping set up anything, and it's just saving a dead hero. So very worried still for MVP, and yeah, VGR just looking like they're going to manhandle MVP right now.
Has there been a lot of situations where we have been seeing MVP kind of put in this situation? Normally you see MVP, the aggressors.
Oh, QO.
QO walks up and he walks into trouble. Hex finger, boom. See you later. ZYF is going to pick up the last hit on that one, and he's now got a mega kill streak. And with that, again, an objective follow-up as Vici Gaming Reborn will segue this into a tier 2 push, just from one to the next, to the next, to the next.
Such good play right now from VGR. How long? They just acquired the Aegis too, so they have such a long time to work with. They can even get the tier 1 top, tier 2, and then they can still go back, farm a bit more, and go for that tier 2 bottom. So they're looking very strong, and even going into the later game stages, Dakota, I would still favor VGR just because of their Doom taking out the hero. The DP is going to be very tanky now because she's caught up nicely, and then Gyro is just steadily getting out of control. So
Soul Booster actually already complete here for Mikasa. Your stand-in here, a late, last-second stand-in at that. And now they have this huge stack build-up right now as FY rolling down and below. They've been able to catch out MP. Silence will connect. The stun, though, will be off the mark, but a boulder flies from downtown and we'll be able to connect onto him. That leads to a call down. That leads to a kill. Another one going into the pocket of ZYF.
yeah, he knew he couldn't TP there because Doom was right there, and he didn't even waste it. That was so smart from Yang. He's like, okay, well, team's coming in, and we're just going to be able to get the kill.
Man, look at that girthy stack. Man, ZYF, this guy is going to be out of control rich right now. Quickly, MVP try to respond by getting some pressure towards his top lane or something, just taking what farm is available on the map so they could try their best to match up in this economy game, which they are losing. My goodness, you look at the Jug, 5.6K. This gyrocopter has pretty much doubled that.
And with the BKB, the only person who can really do anything now is the Juggernaut, as we talked about, and he's getting shut down. So, and he's not even going to have another item. All he has is drums and potentially a Yasha for the next team fight, because I don't see VGR slowing down at all. They have a huge advantage. They can push towers because they picked this Death Prophet, and MVP are just wondering what the hell do they do now with this OD that's so underfarmed.
Almost feels like MVP getting a taste of their own medicine here at the way that Vici Gaming have been able to really dictate the pace.
I agree.
A bit. And this is with a what I would say a bit of a sketchy start. You know, a couple of missed gank opportunities, but they certainly found their way back into this one, and now they're smoked up, and they could make a roll here towards this Jug. MP in a bit of trouble. Is going to be able to get off the Blade Fury, but it's not going to stop the Doom or Soul Siphon from coming through. Dubu drops a Death Ward on the high ground here, but they already get the finish on for the Jug as the Exorcism comes out. QO going to be focused up, and yeah, my God, choke point fighting coming out is just wonderful for Vici Gaming Reborn. FY sets up a beautiful silence and stun combo, and 4 go down from MVP. Only going to be costing Vici Gaming Reborn their 1 support Lion. Another beautiful fight going their way. 8-20. Who'd have thunk?
I thunk it.
So did Fog, too. Got to give you guys both a bit of credit there.
Yeah. I'm going to NA Dota. I mean, I'm going against LD on the panel. That guy is, it was just easy to predict against him, but this is looking very good for VGR when it comes to, I think it's just all coming back to the OD. Like, this hero is not accomplishing anything. It's kind of like a Viper. Sure, he had an okay time there at the 10-minute mark, but until the 10-minute mark. And then they just turned up the tempo immediately from VGR. Oh, my goodness. And like you said, a taste of their own medicine.
It feels like they know that there is really no plan B for MVP at the moment, at least with the farm they have
there
right
is no
now.
plan B. I mean, you see it. I told you, OD has to go BKB, but that doesn't help against the Doom.
Oh, even Forev, who's trying to issue some sort of plan B as he split pushes here in the bottom lane. Got to get caught out quickly. This Lion has a Blink Dagger, and that's going to make easy catch potential there for the Furion. Back at top lane here, they're going to make a go for QO. A beautiful stun silence combo, which sets up the call down. And again, ZYF doing work for his gyrocopter, and great assist potential coming in from FY. Crumbling right now for MVP. I don't even know the last time I've seen them being able to get a kill.
Yeah, it's so nice to see a team too like VGR when you have this stand-in who didn't have the best laning stage, and then they all kind of rally around him and make sure that he can have a great game. So I'm really excited to see that. And oh man, I can't even point out who's MVP right now because DDC has been playing amazing. ZYF with his rotations. Everything's just been on point from VGR.
And ZYF is going to be moving this straight towards a Butterfly. He already has the Ingle song done. I mean, what do you do now? I mean, I don't imagine any sort of Rod of Atos, let's say, for your OD or MKB anywhere in the future right now for MVP.
That's the best thing you can get against an OD too. Like evasion as well as BKB. Just make, and when you have both on Gyrocopter, it's like KO.
Yeah. The man in the machine is going to be one hard beast to take down, and we'll have to see what MVP are going to be able to do to kind of find their own response. And cliff jungling, I guess, in a small sense here from Forev, but nonetheless just trying to make do with what's available on the map. But
MP. I am so scared every time somebody goes in lane, they're going to die.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one now away from the Pact, and maybe they can try to find a way to utilize this in their favor to make it a bait, but even then, I don't even know if they're going to have enough firepower.
They have no potential to catch anyone, Dakota. How did they catch him without a snowball? And we saw the snowball is only used for defensive purposes.
Oh, God, they've been able to spot out Febby. They easily roll in, set up with a silence. Meanwhile, Yang is going to blink in. He gets immediately doomed up. This Jug is going to be a non-factor in this fight, and that's quickly 3 on the deck, and they'll try their best. They get off a pretty good death ward here, but no finish, and that is it. They're going to tap out before they even get close to the base on this one. Vici Gaming Reborn just come out on all cylinders for game number 1.
Yep, that was just VGR. Once you saw the Lion and the Doom get 6, that was just so... They just turned up the tempo better than MVP, and that was really well played.
We got to break it down, though, from the start as we do take a look. And, and as you said, it's really hard to pinpoint who would be MVP for VGR in this one. They all were able to kind of, as you said, rally around behind their Mikasa mid laner. And it was MVP who had a great laning start. You're talking about those early skirmishes. FY coming up a bit short on their gank attempts, but,
they were just able to get their levels, and it's hard to initiate when we're talking about it when you're already having your OD. Every single team fight, OD had 300 HP. So you're forced to use the snowball or something to save him. You're not initiating. You're always on the defensive, and even when ultis are on cooldown, they try to make plays for these towers, and they just kept getting burned. So really well played from VGR. Like I told you, immediately when that gyrocopter rotated at like 4 or 5 minutes in, I was like, okay, VGR have a nice chance to just take this game because they were just on their P's and Q's with the rotations.
But MVP have a lineup that you would think that this is MVP's bread and butter. You know, they're the team that kind of helped pioneer the real significance of Nature's Prophet and its potential at the Shanghai Major, even though we know Bulldog to be a huge Nature's Prophet fanatic there. But, you know, Febi's Tusk is something we've seen plenty, their OD performance. But, you know, even with a great draft, they just were not able to execute. After VG Gaming Reborn, we're able to kind of get the ball rolling. There was just no stopping them.
Yep. It was kind of all early game. That's kind of MVP style. We talk about it. Just didn't get enough done. Got overwhelmed.
It's hard to talk about a lot when it feels like almost a stomp coming out from VG Gaming Reborn, but we'll get to hear more.
Well, I don't want to take it all away from the panelists. That's what I'm trying not to do.
It's their job now to find a way to be able to really dissect that matchup. So we'll cut to a mini break right now, and then we'll throw it over to our experts at the panel to break down game number 1.
E-gaming bets. We accept bets on